Hi there, how are you? This is Zayn, and I'm basically making this video to try and answer a lot of questions that kind of crop up on more than one of the videos, or that people even kind of inbox me asking. They're kind of always to do with tone or about pedals. Whilst I enjoy talking about pedals, I enjoy talking about gear, I find it would be probably more productive to kind of just talk about where I'm coming from with pedals and where I'm coming from with tone, and hopefully that'll kind of answer some of the questions, such as what are you using for gain, or what are you doing for lead sounds, or what are you using for rhythm sounds. Really not a whole lot of difference, more so than never will not really change a pedal to get a lead sound or a rhythm sound, but just change the way I pick or the way I approach an instrument. Of course, you've always got the volume, change the volume knob settings, and that creates a whole different thing with any pedal you use, but I feel they're limiting. I do feel that relying on a little line, on a knob, on a certain pedal, and trusting that night after night to give you a certain tone or a certain response, I think that's a little risky, and I find it's amazing that musicians just rely on this little box and putting it to a certain place to represent your guitar the best it can be represented, represent your playing or your tone, your touch the best it can be represented. I want to quickly just say that for me, sometimes using a pedal, it's not about the sound that it'll produce or that my guitar will, it's not really about sounds always. It's also sometimes about the response and how my guitar feels. For example, I use a compressor. I don't use it to compress. In fact, it does anything but that. But it allows my guitar responds differently. My guitar feels different, and that's why I use a compressor. So it's not always just about sort of sonic benefits when you use pedals. So that's that. But yeah, let me kind of grab my guitar and see if I can kind of get you to believe me that it's not just pedals that can land you a great lead tone or a rhythm tone, which I'm sure you obviously already know, but I'm going to try and further prove that point right now. Okay, so here I've got my rat, and hopefully you can see that it's basically, the drive is usually at about 9 to 10 o'clock, 10 maybe. The filter is about there. I don't know what o'clock is that. It's about 1 o'clock, and about 2 o'clock for my volume. So that's the rat settings. Okay, so now I'm going to try to give you a brief demonstration of this kind of clean to overdriven sound that beckons for picking dynamics and picking technique. Forgot to talk about that, and picks and whatnot. So real quick, I use metal picks, and that's sort of something I've done for like a couple of years now. I only use metal picks. Sometimes I'll use an ivory or a tortoise shell if I'm playing jazz, but if I'm playing a sort of solid body instrument, I'll use a metal pick, and between the finger and the thumb is the string. I'm picking at a diagonal. So if that's the string, I don't know if you can see this, if that's the string, if that's there, I'm picking at a diagonal to it. So how I'm gonna show that. You know what? I use metal picks. I'm going to try to demonstrate some different tones without changing any settings on my guitar or my amp or my pedals. This is sort of a clean sound. So it's a somewhat clean sound. There's a little bit of grit or breakup, but on the whole, it's a pleasant sound. It's a usable sound. Now, if I just pick a little bit harder, you get something like this. So there's a little bit more grit, breaks up a little bit more, but I can still kind of hear the chord qualities. I can hear the separation in the strings. Pick a little bit harder. So there's a little bit more grit. You can play lines, you can play chords. It's almost like having a little bit of overdrive on. Even harder. So it's kind of a lead sound. Sorry about the playing, by the way. It's 1:30 in the morning, and I promised someone I'd do this by tonight. But you can hear a difference in tone. You can hear a difference in gain, a difference in EQ, without going to a pedal or without going to your knobs, your volume knobs, your pickup selections. It really is all in just employing your mind, employing your hands into whether you're playing a lead, where you dig in, you know. Or if you're playing clean, where you play, you know. Or if you're going to play, you know, if you want a really clean sound without even, you know, overtones. I mean, you can use your fingers. So really, there's a lot available to you if you really explore the dynamic range that your pick allows you, or your pickups allow you, or just even your fingertips and your calluses allow you. Exploring that, I think, before going to buy random pedals that you think are going to acquire you that sound, or tweaking knobs, or changing chips in pedals. I think all of that is secondary to really understanding what your fingers are doing. What your pick is doing. Yeah, hopefully that answers some of these questions. And just remember, you can get anything from to anyway. All the best. I hope that means something to someone somewhere. I'm not sure if I'm demonstrating my point or not, but pedals are great. I'm not saying they're not.